Well, this week's episode of Stargirl was probably a huge filler episode. There was hardly anything that happened on here except for Starman going crazy again. Everything else was just it was just a filler episode. They just totally wasted this episode. It's just Starman trying to get coffee and just it was just fluff. Total fluff this episode. And then I guess we're getting the setup for Icicle Jr. here, who is fighting with our man. I don't know. It was just a fluff episode. It was just kind of boring. Like I was expecting something to happen. It's just I don't know. I think next episode will probably be a lot better. This is the highlight here. Is so they get some information and Sports Master and Cheetah there in the store. They're being blackmailed. So Psycho Nut Job here decides to go be Starman again because he doesn't want to make sandwiches or be a barista or move on with his fucking life because he's hung up on living in the past and being Starman. So he goes to the store and starts blasting the staff in the open store at these two. It's just crazy, man. Like I don't know what was going on here. It's just PTSD to the extreme. So these three are fighting it out for the longest time, and they get outside the store, and then Pat shows up outside the store here. If we'll load up. Oh, come on. Anyways, Pat arrives outside the store here, and he's like, "Hey, you can't just be blasting the staff like this out in the open and doing all this." And he calms Starman down, but then Starman comes home, and they. So this part I did like. Pat finally stands up for himself to this just total fucking prick, man. So Starman's like, "How dare you bring Stripesy down there and confront me like this? You're the sidekick, and how dare you, and all this." And Pat's like, "You know what? I had enough of this shit. I'm not the sidekick here anymore, and you're not Star." Man, he just finally told this guy off, man. Like, I've been waiting for this scene for almost 3 seasons because Starman is just such an arrogant prick on this show. Like, I'm so glad that Pat said this to him, and then like he gets all huffy puffy and how dare you and everything, and he finally calms him down. But man, what a what a prick Starman is. I'm not gonna miss him dying again. I'll tell you that much. I mean, Jesus. I mean, that was pretty much the highlight of this episode. The rest of it is just them hanging out, talking about who they think it is, and da da da, and we're gonna figure this out, blah blah blah. This whole episode seems to be the setup for these two coming up in the next one, because the next one it's showing him like he's getting his powers finally, and she's figuring it out. So I suspect there's going to be some sort of a fight or conflict between these two next episode, because he's just turning into to a prick too. Like he can't control his powers, and he's getting angry because he can't draw anymore, and I don't know. So they go on a walk, or what they would classify as a date or whatever. Then he gets all upset for some reason and leaves her. I mean, there's just not that much that happens on this episode. It's just really boring. This was a total filler episode, man. At the end here, Is this blurry? Starman might have got it, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Grundy. So Starman goes back to the gambler's house here to investigate, and you hear like some. It sounded like Grundy, like some monster or something growling, and then Starman turns around to see it, and this thing like just smacks the hell out of him, and then he flies up in the sky and lands down here, and here's the staff, and it looks like Starman's possibly dead, but I don't know. We'll find out next episode. But overall, this episode was just it was just a fluff filler. I don't know what they're doing this season. You know, I mean, the last season at the end we had that like what was that Red Skull type guy or whatever in the hospital. What was it, Bones or something? And I'm like, oh, this looks pretty cool. We're gonna fight this guy next. And then we're cut to this thing with the gambler and Starman going insane. Like, I don't know. I mean, I still love this show, but this episode was just. It just came off as a waste of an episode, man. Like they could have done so much more here. Anyways, that's I don't know. I just didn't like this episode. It was just boring. They did nothing happened except Starman blowing up a grocery store. That was it. Oh, and Pat telling him off finally. Like that should have happened. Gosh, 2 seasons ago, man. Anyways, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's just nothing of significance really happened on this episode. It's just the grocery store scene and Pat sticking up for himself is about it. All right, thanks for watching. See you next week. Hopefully, it's better.